We are following breaking news right now in Northeast Portland, where there has been a shooting in the Pearl District. Good morning and thank you for joining us. I'm China Green.
And I'm Matthew Herchick. We're going to get right over to our Sunrise reporter, Corey Johnson, who's live at the scene. Corey, what are you seeing out there right now?
Yeah, good morning, Matthew. China, we're here at the intersection of Northwest Quimby and 14th Avenue, where it's still a very heavy law enforcement presence. We actually just saw a mobile command unit just arrive on the scene about 10 minutes ago. Now, PPB confirmed officers with the Portland Police Bureau were involved in a critical incident in the area of Northwest 14th and Northwest Raleigh Street here in the Pearl District. They say there is currently no ongoing threat to the public. Multiple streets this morning, though, remain blocked off with crime scene tape as investigators say they're processing that scene. In Northwest Quimby, as I mentioned, and 14th Ave closed, as well as Raleigh and 15th Ave. Drivers are currently being turned around and detoured at this hour. Now, a woman who lives in one of these buildings told us that the police told her they were issuing a search warrant prior to that incident taking place. A spokesperson with PPB is expected to arrive here shortly to provide more information on that critical incident and what exactly happened, what led up to it. Still many questions for us this morning. Now, as we get those details, we'll continue to keep you updated. And this is an incident that's not only impacting pedestrians, but also impacting traffic as well. Let's head things over to Chris McGinnis with a look at the traffic impact.
Yeah, Corey, we never did get confirmation yet from PPB or ODOT if that earlier blockage on the Fremont Bridge was also related to what's going on down below, but I can tell you that that has cleared. Back to the rest of our freeway drive. We've got plenty of slow spots out there to talk about. We'll start off in Gladstone. I-205 from Clackamas to Westland running a little thick, of course, over the Abernathy Bridge. And right now we're up to between 18 and 20 minutes to get you from Clackamas to Tualatin. Meanwhile, in North Portland, it's a little foggy here. This is up near the Interstate Bridge, and at last check over on the west side, windy, with the wind hitting the tops of the trees out near the Sylvan Hill. Right now, your trip in from Hillsborough is up to 33 minutes at last check. Rod?
Well, most of us are dealing with a sunny, warm forecast. There are some exceptions. Hood River, good morning. Only mid-40s for you today under the low cloud cover. The Dalles will be similar and also out into Pendleton. But here we go with the sunshine looking at our state capitol and the frost on the grass, something we have not seen the last several mornings. Right now it's 35 at nearby McNary Field. Here's the rising sun. Look at that, kind of a cool circle of illumination on the water down there of the sun. 36 is the number actually out at PDX. So this will be a sunny day. The east winds still gusting roughly to 40 on average out near the opening of the gorge. 53 at noon. High temperature in the 2 to 3 o'clock hour. We'll be nearing 60 and we'll be 54 at 5 p.m. We have one more nice sunny warm day tomorrow, and then we'll talk about weekend rain coming up in my complete forecast. Back to you.
Rod, thank you. The Tillamook School District will be closed today after a threat circulating on social media and through phone calls. They did not specifically say what kind of threat it was. The district says law enforcement is actively investigating. They say at this time there's not enough information to determine if the threat is credible, but classes are canceled today out of an abundance of caution.
A federal judge has ruled immigration agents in Oregon must stop arresting people without warrants unless they are likely to escape.
The ruling is a preliminary injunction as part of a proposed class action lawsuit. Thomas Schultz joins us now from North Portland. Thomas, what led up to the judge's decision here?
Yeah, guys, look, the judge heard testimony about arrests in question here, including the arrest of a man named Victor Cruz, a grandfather in Hillsborough. Cruz has told us before today that he was held for 3 weeks in an immigration detention facility, even though he has a valid work permit and a pending visa application. The judge called actions of agents in Oregon, quote, violent and brutal, and said he had concerns about the administration denying due process. We reached out to the Department of Homeland Security but haven't heard back, though in court filings the federal government says in part, quote, plaintiffs cannot establish they are likely to suffer irreparable harm in the absence of an injunction because the harm they fear is speculative. Adding an injunction would interfere with an exclusive function of the president to enforce immigration. Still, courts in Colorado and Washington, D.C. have ruled similarly to the judge here in Oregon. The federal government, though, is appealing both of those other cases. Guys.
Thomas reporting live this morning. Thomas, thank you very much. Well, in Clark County, the sheriff's office is looking for the man suspected of making off with a big beer haul. Deputies say the suspect jumped the fence at the Cascades Amphitheater on January 24th, then got away with more than $2,400 worth of beer. Authorities say he was driving what appears to be a light blue Toyota RAV4. Anyone with information should contact the Clark County Sheriff's Office.
In other local headlines, a Clackamas County man accused of killing his estranged wife will go to trial later this month. Michael Fournier appeared in court Wednesday where he was expected to accept a plea deal but chose to go to trial instead. He's facing a second-degree murder charge in the death of Susan Lane Fournier and her 2 dogs in November 2024. Court records showed that he had filed for divorce about a month before her death. The trial is set to begin February 24th.
The Trump administration is investigating Beaverton-based Nike around claims it discriminated against white workers. The chair of the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission wrote in the filing that she believes, quote, Nike may have taken these unlawful actions in an effort to create, in Nike's own words, a representative workforce equal to the consumer and communities it serves. Nike's recent 5-year plan included 2 goals. The first, to have 30% minority representation at the director level. The second, to have 35% representation across the workforce. By 2025, the company had surpassed those goals, and the EEOC says the company failed to provide information it asked for in the fall, something Nike disputes. They responded saying, in quote, this feels like a surprising and unusual escalation. We have had extensive good faith participation in an EEOC inquiry into our personnel practices, programs, and decisions, and have had ongoing efforts to provide information and engage constructively with the agency. Now, it's important to note that the allegations of preferential treatment were not made by workers with the company. Nike has been sued for racial discrimination in the past, but those suits have been raised by people of color. Now over to Salem, where a battle over Oregon's farmland is moving forward with a new bill focused on agritourism. It's raising the question of when does a farm stop being a farm and turn into something more commercial. This bipartisan bill would remove revenue caps and allow larger farm store structures. Opponents of the bill say that they are concerned that it would expose protected farmland to commercial development, potentially raise land prices, and hurt smaller farmers.
We have the public out, they're paying admission fees, they're buying food. All that extra revenue is actually just allowing us to reinvest in our business. By eliminating income restrictions, it stops us from worrying about selling one too many donuts or having one too many guests show up.
Agritourism is a way for farmers to make a little bit of extra money, not for event venue owners to have a beautiful venue on farmland. And when that happens, we start to see real farmers being priced out of agricultural land.
The bill says counties can still regulate parking, traffic, and noise. It also requires that people actively farm on at least half of their land. Well, this past holiday season will be the last for the Lloyd Center. The Portland Business Journal is reporting the building's owner plans to shutter the mall for good. The closure would pave the way for a large-scale redevelopment. While no official closing date is set, the building's owner says in an email to PBJ, quote, there will not be another holiday season at the mall. A virtual design to review the hearing on the Lloyd Center master plan is set for this afternoon at 1:30.
8:08 on your Thursday morning. Over to Rod for a look at another comfortable forecast.
Yeah, that's a memory, by the way, for a lot of people, that Lloyd Center Mall. I mean, it was the jewel of Oregon, arguably, when it first was built for decades. It's going to be something to see that disappear. Here's our Rose City camera. Yeah, what a beautiful, beautiful flipping day coming again. Yesterday was 72 in Newport. It was 72 in Bend. It was 67 in Seaside. It was 63 in Hillsboro. Portland was 60 downtown, which tied the record for the date. Now we're starting a little cooler this morning, and there are some frosty pockets around. PDX is setting at 36, Hillsboro 34. Still below freezing Battleground and Scappoose. And then you've got 40s where the east wind is moving the air. 45 in Westland. Trotto continuing to see 45 mile per hour wind gusts. Current temperature 47. Freezing still down in Corvallis. The big story today is the sunny, warm weather. Now the exception, the low clouds, where it will only be in the 40s today. Hood River, the Dalles out into Pendleton. But John Day 56. Bend, this shows 56 at 4 o'clock, but you may be back into the 60s, well into the 60s at the coast again, and then upper 50s to low 60s once again expected up and down the I-5 corridor. Here's our 7-day. We'll go 58 today in Portland, could be 60. The record for today, by the way, is 58. 56 tomorrow, and then we've got the rain developing before the noon hour on Saturday. This is not showery weather. This could be steady rain much of Saturday afternoon, night, and much of Sunday, with snow levels generally above the Cascade Passes, meaning wet travel conditions until we get to Sunday night into Monday, when it would be scattered snow showers. Portland 48 Monday, 47 Tuesday, and right now we're looking at a dry Wednesday. That's your forecast. Here's Chris.
Rod, thanks for that. The drive time's on the upswing, as you would expect for this hour of a Thursday morning commute. We'll take you out to the west side. There's the inbound Sunset out near Bethany. Traffic is starting to stack up there. Right now, your inbound Highway 26 commute is 30 minutes to get you in from Hillsborough to downtown. I-5 from Wilsonville starting to build a little bit, and so is the southbound I-5 drive out of Clark County. And I think some of this might be due to the fog in North Portland. Right now, we're just shy of 40 minutes to get you in from Main Street. Also, on the west side, West Commuter Rail disrupted today because of earlier mechanical issues near Tigard. Right now, TriMet says they are running shuttle buses in place of West service between Tigard and Beaverton. Back to you.
Thank you, Chris. With thousands expected to travel from all over the world to Italy for the Winter Olympics, jet lag is sure going to be felt, but ordering a cup of coffee there is more complicated than you think. Plus,
in an exclusive sit-down interview with NBC News, President Trump saying he'd learned from the unrest in Minneapolis that his administration could maybe use a softer touch on immigration. I'm Alice Barr in Washington with the latest coming up from that wide-ranging interview.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news, live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
As we get closer to the start of the Winter Olympics in Milan, Italy is gearing up to host athletes and tourists alike.
and it's essential for visitors to understand at least one thing: the unwritten rules of Italian coffee. Antonia Mortson shows us how to order the perfect cup.
For athletes and visitors coming here to Milan for the Winter Olympic Games who'd like to get a taste of daily Italian life, there's one key ritual, and that's how to order coffee. In Italy, coffee isn't just a drink, it's a precise, everyday choreography. I'm here at Marchesi, one of Milan's oldest and most famous coffee bars and pastry shops. The ritual starts before the first sip, and for those unfamiliar, it can feel like decoding a cultural script.
4 cappucci.
Once you enter, there's no formal queue. What you have to try and do is catch the barista's eye and say hello in Italian, which is buongiorno. Buongiorno, per me un cappuccino, per favore. Grazie, grazie mille. Your order should be short and precise. Un caffè is an espresso. Macchiato is an espresso with a dollop of hot, foamy milk. Cappuccino is a cappuccino. Italians usually don't order that after midday. And if you ask for a latte, you will most probably receive a glass of milk because latte in Italian means milk. If you want to have a latte, you have to say latte macchiato.
La colazione tipica a Milano è chi la fa in pasticceria o al bar, naturalmente il caffè fa da padrone e poi viene accompagnato dei cornetti.
Italians rarely sit unless they're planning to stay a while. The ritual usually happens al banco. It's quick, it's efficient, and it's usually over within 2-3 sips. If you didn't pay at the start, you settle up on your way out, usually with the exact change, and that's it, the ritual ends. It's simple, fast, and rooted in community. It's not just about drinking a coffee, but it's also about the moment it creates. And for visitors coming here, mastering it is the quickest way to feel like a local. Antonio Mortensen, CNN, Milan.
I feel like that's a spot where you don't get what you like and what you want to get. You get what is culturally acceptable there.
Well,
so they don't.
Somebody who's never had a cup of coffee in their life, that was certainly helpful
Yes.
for me if I ever go there. But, well, you know I don't drink coffee.
How many Americans are going to go, give me a latte, please?
And they're
And
gonna
they
get
get a
a cup
glass
of
of milk. And you're like, what the heck?
Yeah. Love you learn.
Oh, that was great. All right. These were some of the numbers yesterday. This just blows me away every time I report on this. It was 72 in Bend and Newport, both cities reporting that. Warmest in the state, by the way. Astoria 63, Seaside had 67, Salem 61, Hillsborough 63. Downtown Portland tied the record for downtown at 60 degrees. It was 58 out at PDX. The record yesterday at the airport was 60 degrees, so that stands. The record today is 58 at PDX. That's in play once again. We'll see. We have clouds holding off. We do have weekend rain coming, but we'll have the sun today. We'll have the sunshine tomorrow, with the exception of the low cloud lockdown from Hood River to the Dalles back into Pendleton. And in this area, again, it's just that if you're driving from Portland to Hood River today, you're going to go, oh, it's so beautiful, it's so sunny. And then all of a sudden, you're going to be in this dark gray world of the low cloud lockdown, where the highs in Hood River today will only be in the mid 40s, and there will be no light and no light winds and really no air movement at all. So that's going to continue today and tomorrow. Then the incoming weather systems will clear all of that out and also kill the east winds starting this weekend. Still a lot of sunshine tomorrow for the majority of our region. Here comes the weekend rain. This is Saturday morning. We're looking at rain right from the get-go at the coast. I think it's going to be raining at some point before noon, maybe as early as 9 or 10 o'clock here up and down I-5. And then later in the day on Saturday, what you're looking at here, we're right in the middle of steady rain, not scattered stuff. And notice the yellow and the dark green. These are pretty good rain rates. The front that's driving all this comes in slowly Sunday, so the moisture keeps channeling. So you can make the argument that once it starts Saturday, it's mostly a steady rain, Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, and Sunday, which is why you're seeing big numbers on our rain potential map. It shows 1.88 in Portland and almost 2.5 in Lincoln City. Now, I will tell you, as a forecaster, we look at multiple models, and this is one of the wetter ones. But the driest weather model I could find still gives Portland over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday combo, of an inch, with most of that falling Saturday night and Sunday in terms of the heavier rain rates coming down. Let me tell you about snow levels real quick. Snow level looks like it's 6,000 or above Saturday. That's just rain. And I think it's looking more and more like the snow level through most of Sunday afternoon will also be above government camp. So I think traveling is going to be mainly just wet until Sunday overnight into Monday. Then we'll get some snow shower activity after most of the moisture is gone down to the passes. Hey, we're so happy to have our Astoria column camera back. You're looking at the Astoria-Meckler Bridge there and the Columbia River. This has been down literally for months, and it's just a great, beautiful view. You can see there's a little bit of wind. Again, Astoria, think about it. The wind is out in the gorge. Corbett gusts to 76 miles per hour last night. That wind follows the river, and there you can see some of it hitting you folks in Astoria. Temperature for you is 43 degrees right now. Here's a look at the other part of the Columbia River in the gorge, and there's that low cloud lockdown. You're 44 right now. Your high today will probably be 46 or 47. It's just not going to budge. We've got beautiful sunshine this morning in Portland. Cooler than it has been. Mid-30s currently out at PDX. Salem at 35. Eugene 34. Freezing over in Bend. The coast forecast well up into the 60s again, easily it looks like. Again, Newport was 72 yesterday. We'll see how warm you get today. And there's that different world out in the gorge. Hood River to the Dow is very cloudy with highs only in the 40s. Valley forecast numbers, again, upper 50s to low 60s on average. I've got Portland at 58. Nice day tomorrow. The rainy weekend and the scattered showers to start next week. Here is Chris McGinnis.
Okay, Rod, thanks for that. Let's get you out the door with a look at the roads. We will start off zooming in. Will we? There we go. Let's start off over the east side. I-205 northbound traffic getting a little thicker now. Rolling up past Johnson Creek Boulevard. None of this is out of the ordinary, but there you go. There's the northbound commute on the left-hand side of your screen. So the drive north from Clackamas to I-84 is up to about 13 minutes. Folks then hit I-84 right there, and that westbound commute is certainly slow and steady. We'll look at that coming up in just a few minutes. There's I-5 south of town near Capitol Highway. You can see some of the higher spots in town, like here, catching that east wind. Northbound I-5 right now is running a little thick as we get in from Tigard and Tualatin. And at last check, we're just shy of 30 minutes to get folks in from Hillsborough to I-405. Matthew?
Chris, thank you.
We need to know, without a doubt, that she is alive and that you have her.
The Guthrie family is sending out a plea to the person or people that abducted their mother, Nancy, where the investigation into her disappearance stands.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW+. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW+. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW+. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news, live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
In an exclusive interview with NBC News, President Donald Trump said he could maybe use a softer touch on immigration following the events in Minneapolis. That's just one of a range of topics the president touched on. NBC's Alice Barr has the details from Washington.
I want the last one.
President Trump in an exclusive sit-down with NBC's Tom Yamas, reflecting on what he's learned through weeks of uproar over his administration's immigration crackdown in Minneapolis.
Maybe we can use a little bit of a softer touch, but you still have to be tough. These are criminals. We're dealing with really hard criminals.
That after the president's border czar announced 700 federal immigration agents are withdrawing from Minnesota, aiming to end the surge in manpower, but not the mission.
We're not backing down at all. I said today mass deportations will continue.
While Democrats are pushing to formalize major changes to immigration enforcement before Department of Homeland Security funding runs out next week.
It's got to rein in ICE in very serious ways. And if they're not serious and they don't put in real reform, they shouldn't expect our votes.
President Trump also addressing bipartisan pushback over his recent comments about nationalizing elections in some places, despite the Constitution dictating that states run elections.
We can't allow cheating in elections. Now, if we need to put in federal controls as opposed to state controls, remember this. They're really an agent.
The president repeating his debunked claims of widespread fraud in the 2020 election amid the FBI's controversial seizure of 2020 ballots in Fulton County, Georgia.
They're going to look at it, and now they're going to find out the true winner of that state.
There is no evidence Georgia's results were marred by fraud, and a hand count of ballots confirmed the results shortly after the election. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Now to a tearful plea from Savannah Guthrie and her family after her mother Nancy disappeared from her home in Arizona.
In a video statement, Savannah addresses the person or people presumably who abducted her 84-year-old mother, referencing potential ransom notes.
As a family, we are doing everything that we can. We are ready to talk. However, we live in a world where voices and images are easily manipulated. We need to know, without a doubt, that she is alive and that you have her. We want to hear from you.
Detectives believe Nancy was taken against her will overnight Saturday into Sunday, and her family continues to say she needs her medication in order to stay alive. Last night, a candlelight service was held at a church in Tucson. The White House says President Donald Trump spoke with Savannah to offer all available resources.
Oh God, make speed to save us.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
Good morning, I'm China Green. Portland Public Schools is facing a massive budget deficit of $50 million. The district says the deficit is tied to declining enrollment, rising costs, and reductions in federal funding. District leaders are asking lawmakers to look into alternate funding options like the state stability fund or a state sales tax to help fund education. If the deficit can't be filled, PPS says that it will have to cut over 300 full-time employees and possibly close schools. Headed over to Rod Hill for a look at weather.
Well, your weather story, again, most of us are looking at mostly sunny skies and a very warm afternoon. Here's Wine Country Salem Tasting Room out in Sherwood. You can see Mount Hood, and there's a sunnier blue look over the Dundee Hills. That's the camera at Domaine Serene Winery. Portland's at 36. We'll be 53 at noon, and somewhere in that 2 or 3 o'clock hour, we'll be nearing 60 and then back down to 54 at 5 o'clock. One more sunny, mild day tomorrow, and then we have weekend rain that develops before noon on Saturday. And then it could be raining much of Saturday night and much of Sunday. Scattered showers in the forecast to begin next week.
We are following breaking news right now in Northwest Portland, where Portland police are investigating an incident in the Pearl District. They're having a press conference right now. Let's take a listen.
So this investigation actually began last Saturday on January 31st at about 1:04 p.m. when Central Precinct officers responded to a report of a threat with a weapon at the Safeway at the 1400 block of Northwest Lovejoy. When the officers responded and investigated, they found that a suspect had approached the security officers at the Safeway, produced a handgun and pulled the trigger. The handgun did not fire. A scuffle ensued, and during the scuffle, the security officers pulled a backpack off of the suspect. The suspect ran from the scene. Officers made a very lengthy investigation and a search for that suspect in the neighborhood, and were trying to find him. They were not successful that day at finding him. However, when they searched the backpack, they found that there was a shotgun in the backpack that was loaded, which certainly increased the level of concern about the danger to the community that this suspect posed. So the case was forwarded over to the Enhanced Community Safety Team. ECST is a group of detectives and officers that investigate shootings, and they utilize their investigative techniques over the course of days to determine who the suspect is and where he is at. They were able to obtain an arrest warrant for that suspect, who lives in the 1600 block of Northwest 14th Avenue. And because of a very high level of danger to the community that this person posed, they brought in the Special Emergency Reaction Team and the Crisis Negotiation Team. Those are our tactical teams that go out to incidents like this and serve dangerous search warrants on armed individuals. That service of the warrant was taking place this morning, was planned this morning, just after 5 o'clock in the morning. The tactical crews knocked on the door, announced themselves. They used explosive breaching tools to try to breach the door and a wall into the apartment. They attempted communication with the suspect, basically calling him out, saying you need to come outside. This is the Portland Police. During that time, the suspect did not communicate with them, and eventually there was a need to deploy gas into the apartment in order to prompt him to come out. Because this is an apartment, there's a lot of people that live there. Officers took the time to evacuate the entire 10th floor to make sure that everyone that is in that area was safe from the gas deployment. So after the evacuation, they deployed gas. It was both OC vapor as well as CS gas, which is what we use in situations like this regularly. That was effective, and the suspect came out. There were shots fired, and the suspect is deceased at the scene. There was a handgun that was recovered from the scene, or we know it's at the scene. It hasn't been recovered yet, but it'll be recovered as evidence. So there's a handgun at the scene as well. 2 officers were involved in the shooting. All the officers, both the involved officers, the 2 involved officers, and the witness officers are safe and unhurt. And now we are going forward with our regular officer-involved shooting investigation protocol. So detectives are here. We always bring out our homicide detectives. Obviously, the Multnomah County District Attorney is here. They are overseeing this investigation to determine fully what happened, and then the normal process that we go through to investigate an officer-involved shooting will be happening. So during the investigation, Northwest Savior to Quimby and 13th to 15th are going to be closed down. We'll be here for several hours as we go through this investigation. We know it's a very populated area. A lot of people live here, and so we're working with the community to try to allow people access to and from their homes as much as we possibly can. But of course, this being a crime scene, we have to make sure that we're preserving that crime scene. So officers will be here for a while during that investigation. Chief Bob Day is here, and I'm going to step aside and allow him for a few comments, and then we'll give you a chance to ask some questions.
Good morning, everyone. Today I shared with Mayor Wilson's team, we're always saddened at the loss of life, and we should never lose sight of the fact that our primary responsibility in public safety is the preservation of life and the sanctity of life. And events like this have a tremendous impact, not only on this individual and his family and his community, but also on the officers involved, the first responders, the medical personnel, the investigators, the broader Portland community, the people in the apartment complex, etc. So we understand in the Portland Police Bureau that these events have a wide-ranging impact on our community, and we're highly sensitive to that. I'm particularly grateful this morning that our officers are safe, their professionalism, their expertise, as Kevin mentioned, our Special Emergency Reaction Team and our Crisis Negotiation Team are always called upon in these highly critical, high-risk situations, and just appreciate their willingness to be available for that. It really highlights the need for continue to have a well-funded, well-resourced, well-equipped Portland Police Department. That the organization is still feeling very fragile. The events of a couple of weeks ago where a couple of our officers were shot. This obviously is a high-intensity situation. As Kevin mentioned, it'll be thoroughly reviewed. I'm committed to a transparent, complete, and independent review of what's going on. We'll have the independent police review. We will partner with our East County Major Crimes Team, the District Attorney's Office, our own Professional Standards Division, and our Training Division will all be engaged in this, and so the community can be assured that there will be many eyes on this. There has been no conclusion reached on the facts or the justification of the officers' actions, as we will continue to let the investigation play out. But this morning, very proud and grateful that our officers are safe. Finally, as I mentioned, it has been a trying couple of weeks. It's really been a trying couple of several months for the Police Bureau, whether it be managing the events, the public order events, or the activities in the South Waterfront, maintaining our commitment to not participate in immigration enforcement, to also some of the violence that we're seeing directed towards our officers, and ongoing efforts to reduce crime and the fear of crime in the city of Portland. And I'm grateful that we continue to do so in collaboration with our many partners, both at the community level and in the federal level and in other law enforcement areas. And Portlanders can be assured that we will continue to provide the highest level of safety and service to all of them to the best of our ability every day. Thank you very much.
Okay, so that's our prepared remarks. We'll take a few questions and answer what we can.
This guy that pulled a gun at Safeway, you have a couple of days to kind of put together the things out of his backpack. Did you have any prior, is he a repeat customer here at Portland Police? Was just this incident at Safeway the first time he had done something with police, or did he have a criminal history?
I'm not sure about his criminal history. The officers did not initially know him. Some people do have repeat contacts, and my understanding is that none of the officers were familiar with him at the time.
Sergeant Allen, you said that shots were fired. Have the investigators been able to gather who fired those shots first and why officers returned gunfire?
Yeah, and that's the part that we have to be really careful, because we don't want to say something now that turns out is inaccurate. And so a lot of review has to happen before we can say that definitively. We know obviously the officers fired shots, but these are members of the Special Emergency Reaction Team. They're Portland police officers. They wear body cameras, and so we'll be able to review that over time. But of course, we've only been here a couple hours, and so we need time before we say that definitively.
Now, a portion of the Fremont Bridge was closed this morning for a short period of time. Was that in relation to this incident?
Yes, the Fremont Bridge, we did have at least a lane closed during the course of this. It just happened to be because of where the bridge is located. It was a really good vantage point for officers to kind of see what was going on in the apartment. And so we utilize those points of observation whenever we can to increase the level of safety as much as we possibly can.
And that is Portland police officials. We've been listening in as they've been updating us on the breaking news we've been following since around 5:30 this morning. Portland police officials recapping a shooting that involved 2 officers and a suspect. They say both officers are safe and uninjured. The suspect did die in that shooting. They said this started as an incident involving the suspect with a handgun and a security guard at the Safeway on Lovejoy in the Pearl District, and then developed into a search for that suspect.
He ended up at an apartment building on Northwest 14th. Tactical teams were brought in. It's also happening on Quimby. Explosive breaching tools were used to get the suspect. The building was evacuated. The suspect came out. Shots were fired. And again, the suspect is deceased. We do know that both officers weren't harmed. We'll check in with Corey Johnson in just a little bit for more details on what's going on here, but we're going to go over to traffic now with Chris McGinnis.
And as mentioned earlier, of course, the I-405 lane blockage now, we are hearing that was related to that search. Back to the freeway drive right now. We're in relatively good shape. We've got a couple of slow spots out there. I also want to let folks on the west side know this. If you ride West Commuter Rail, right now that service is disrupted between Tigard and Beaverton. TriMet using shuttle buses to make those stops. The rest of the freeway system, drive times are creeping up on us just a little bit. We'll zoom in real quick down near Capitol Highway. There's your I-5 commute. You can see the breeze blowing the trees around just a little bit. Right now that trip in from Wilsonville, if we can get that. There we go. 25 minutes to get you in from Wilsonville Road to downtown.
All right, thank you, Chris, for that. My part of the story is the majority of Oregon and up into Washington, we're just going to have another sunny, warm afternoon. It's been a chillier start. Salem right now 35 degrees. We've seen some frosty conditions down in Marion County, also some frosty conditions out in Washington County and up into Clark County. Here's downtown Portland. Gorgeous start to our day. 36 degrees is the number out at PDX, and our day marching forward, if you will. 53 degrees at noon. Somewhere in that 2 to 3 o'clock hour, we will be nearing 60 once again today. Now, the record out at PDX for today's day is 58. I have us cooling down to 54 at 5 o'clock. We still have that low cloud lockdown where it's going to be cloudy and kind of dark because of the low clouds, and temperatures will hold steady in the 40s from Hood River through the Dalles and out into Pendleton. But outside of this zone, everybody will get the sun. This shows Bend 56. Maybe you're up to 60 again today. And notice the 60s up and down the coast. Eugene, Kelso, and maybe Salem and Albany and Portland get up to 60 degrees as well. Here's our 7-day forecast. I've got us 58 today, maybe 60. Similar numbers tomorrow. Now for your weekend, it's a dry start on Saturday morning, but before the noon hour, it could be raining. And from that point forward, we think it's raining most of Saturday afternoon, night, and Sunday. Over an inch of rain is expected. That breaks into scattered showers on Monday and Tuesday to start next week. Right now, we think Cascade passes will be mainly wet with rain both days during the daylight hours. That's your update.
Rod, thank you. In an update, evacuation orders have been lifted in Canby after a massive industrial explosion Tuesday afternoon. Yeah, surveillance video showing chunks of debris raining down, leaving a trail of damage, even blowing off part of a roof. Canby's fire chief says a high-pressure tank at Kitty Hawk Products used for making metal parts exploded. We spoke with one man whose truck was hit by flying debris.
I wasn't sure if the building was going to come down. I walked out front, was checking stuff out, and I thought I felt the heat from the fire, but it was that thing on the ground that bounced and hit my truck. It was radiating heat. It was like I was standing next to a bonfire.
3 employees were in the building at the time of the explosion. 1 suffered minor injuries. A measles outbreak in Clark County has health officials warning about possible exposures, especially in Ridgefield.
Health officials say since late January, 1 measles case in the county has grown to 7. The new cases involve 1 adult and 5 kids. They say transmission in all cases happened in private spaces, but the original patient may have exposed others in 2 public settings while contagious. 1 was at Ridgefield High School between January 14th and 16th. The other at the Vancouver Clinic in Ridgefield on the 21st between 4 and 9 p.m. For some parents of young kids like Deja Hyde, learning the virus had spread was frustrating.
So my hope is that people will start taking it more serious, and hopefully that they can start, getting their vaccinations and stuff to keep everyone safe.
Health officials say about 90% of people in Clark County are vaccinated against the measles, but a 95% vaccination rate is needed to achieve herd immunity.
Please don't balance the budget on the backs of our children.
In a plea to state lawmakers, Portland public school leaders laid out what they call a dire situation. This comes as the district faces a huge budget deficit. This year's gap, $50 million. Thomas Schultz has those details.
Well, this is the 3rd year in a row that Portland Public could significantly slash its budget. $50 million in budget cuts would lead to 300 employees losing their jobs. Now, PPS is also looking into closing schools. There's a bunch of reasons the biggest school district in Oregon finds itself in this hole, namely declining enrollment, rising cost, cuts in federal funding, and the issue school board members have talked about for years here, not enough state funding. Some parents have long argued the Oregon legislature has never given schools adequate levels of money. Now, PPS board chair Eddie Wong says the district is asking lawmakers to explore ways to boost funding. Wong says leaders at PPS have even shown support in exploring a state sales tax to fund education.
It's not fun anymore. It's pretty difficult. And right now in PPS, the morale is at an all-time low.
Our educators and our students are doing all that they can, and we just need our state and the funds to follow.
Armstrong adds that these cuts would lead to a 7% reduction in the workforce at Portland Public. She does say that over the next 6 to 9 months, though, they'll explore ways of trying to get creative and maybe keeping some of those employees. One solution that they're possibly looking at is closing some schools. At Portland Public Schools headquarters in North Portland, Thomas Schultz, KGW News.
30 years ago, parts of Oregon saw the type of flooding that experts say happens once every 100 years. We take a look back after the break.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yeah.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
We are following breaking news right now in Northwest Portland, where Portland police are investigating a deadly police shooting in the Pearl District.
Yeah, we're hearing from Portland police now with an update on what happened. Corey Johnson was part of that press conference. Corey, break it all down for us.
Yeah, good morning, Matthew, China. We're here at the intersection of Northwest Quimby and 14th Avenue in the Pearl District, where a press conference with PPB just wrapped up, where they confirmed exactly what went on today. Now, this all happened when two security officers last Saturday afternoon at the Safeway on 14th and Lovejoy, police say a suspect in that incident pulled a gun and pointed it at those security officers, pulled the trigger, but it did not fire. Now, this morning, around 5 a.m., officers say that they tried to serve a search warrant on that suspect, who has not been identified yet, in relation to that Safeway incident. The warrant was for attempted assault in the first degree. A portion of the Fremont Bridge was also closed this morning in relation to that shooting, as police issued a drone during that search also. Now, the suspect, they can identify as an adult male. We don't exactly know his name at this hour, but according to police, what led up to that shooting, he came out when police deployed gas in the apartment. It's the Vibrant apartment building near Northwest Quimby and 14th Ave. It's unclear exactly during that exchange what exactly happened, but police say the suspect did end up getting shot. He was killed in that gunfire exchange. Two officers were also involved in that shooting, and as of right now, an internal review is underway of exactly what happened in that shooting. So as we learn more details, we will continue to keep you updated.
Our Corey Johnson reporting live. Thank you, Corey. 30 years ago, the Great Flood of '96 swept through the Willamette Valley and southwest Washington. The historic flood wiped out thousands of homes and businesses, causing millions of dollars worth of damage, and killed 8 people.
They called it a perfect storm, a winter full of snow and ice, followed by warm rain that led to the most destructive flooding in Oregon since 1964. The Willamette River rose more than 28 feet, 10 feet above flood levels, hitting communities from Salem up to Vancouver, Washington. In the Rose City, volunteers built a wall along the waterfront so floodwaters wouldn't reach downtown. Then President Bill Clinton also visited, deploying the National Guard to help with cleanup efforts.
You know, you read about that, and it was a really high snowpack, and then it was really cold. And so the ground is hard right when the second that the atmosphere warms and you get an atmospheric river like we had back in December. So now the runoff is just really rapid. The snow melt and the seawall disappeared, as you saw there in downtown Portland.
Yeah.
All right, let's get you going. We have another really warm, mild afternoon. Clouds are holding offshore, except for that low cloud area from Hood River back into the Columbia Basin. Here it is on Futurecast. Outside of this, we will all get a lot of sun. We will all be warming up nicely. And we'll do that again tomorrow. All right, Futurecast into the weekend. Here we go. Saturday morning, you wake up in Portland, assuming you don't sleep the day away, it will be dry. We've got rain at the coast right from the get-go. And then before the noon hour, maybe as early as 9, 10 o'clock, it's raining in Portland. Notice this is not scattered. This will be steady rain. And it keeps feeding with a front that comes in slowly on Sunday. So you can make the argument it's a steady, widespread rain all of Saturday afternoon, all of Saturday night, and all of Sunday, or at least much of Sunday. Weather models back that up with hefty rain totals. This shows over 2 at the coast and well over an inch up and down I-5, and some decent amounts into central Oregon out through the gorge as well. Now, this is one of the wetter models, but I will tell you the drier weather models still show over an inch of rain coming with this in Portland. Not a lot of snow. In fact, pass level could be wet all the way through Sunday afternoon. But the snow level 6,000 feet means there could be stacking up heavy wet snow on the upper lifts at the resorts, including at Timberline Lodge at 6,000 feet. All right, here we go. Reserve Vineyards and Golf Club in Aloha. It was cold out here, but I don't really, maybe there's some light frost patches on the grass. That's what I'm looking for. 34 degrees is the current number. There's some fog, but it hasn't been as bad as it was yesterday from the Vancouver, the Springs at the waterfront up in Clark County. 38, 36, 35, Kelso, Portland, Salem. Bend is freezing, 27. And that's after reaching 72 yesterday. It was so crazy warm. All right, valley numbers are big ones again. Upper 50s to low 60s today. The east winds continue to blow out along the Columbia River, gusting to about 40 miles per hour. I mentioned upper 50s, low 60s today, mild again tomorrow, then the weekend rain and scattered showers to start next week. It is birthday time. All right, our party starts with, let's see here, turning 1 today, Tio Vista. Happy birthday to you. Hope you have a wonderful day. Kelly's 8. Happy birthday to you. Lon, 17. And Randy is 66 today. Happy birthday to you. That's our list. Send us your photos to birthdays@kgw.com and we will celebrate with you. Here's Chris.
A reminder for folks on the west side, if you ride West Commuter Rail, you're going to be slightly delayed for much of the day as TriMet reporting a mechanical issue near the Tigard Transit Center. So right now they're using shuttles to serve west stops between Tigard and Beaverton Transit Center. Obviously, again, throughout the day, that'll cause some delays for your morning commute. All right, I-5 right now on the freeway south of town. It's busy, but we're moving. This is near Capitol Highway. A quick check of your drive time right now coming up from Wilsonville. 24 minutes, 22 minutes gets you in from Hillsborough. And last but not least, the drive from Clark County improving. Still about 20 minutes, though, to get you in from Main Street to the Fremont Bridge. Guys?
Chris, thank you. Of course, you can always catch more news, weather, and traffic over on our website, kgw.com. And of course, a reminder, you can watch sunrise every day live exclusively here on KGW Plus starting at 7 o'clock. We also have added another half hour of news at 12:30 and 5:30 right here on Plus. We hope to see you then. Have a great Thursday, everyone.